Hey everybody, what's going on? Eric here. Oops. Today we're going to be destroying the guitar that everybody loves to hate, the Dean Tonic. Hey YouTubians, what's going on? Hope everyone's doing good out there. Hope everyone's staying well. Today I have the Dean Tonic sitting on the bench. I've already got it in a couple pieces already, as you can see. And I got some of the electronics taken out over here because I'm looking at replacing a few things here. So on the electronic side, not the neck, I got the pots out, and these are 500K pots. You have an L and an A. So, well, actually it's a B and an A. So you got your linear and you got your audio taper on the tone. So what I need to do is I'm going to replace these guys here. Why? Well, I want to put something a little bit better inside this thing. So it's already been shielded as far as the paint goes, and the bad thing about this stuff here is trying to get the shielding tape to stick to this stuff. Sometimes it kind of pulls away from it, so I don't know if I'm going to just add more shielding paint to it and then paint the inside of the cavity over here, or just leave it as is. Because this is a humbucker, really shouldn't have too much of a problem, exception of switching it over to a split, splitting the coil. That might give me a little bit of noise. So what I have, basic 5-way switch. Okay, I've seen these things in a lot of guitars. They're not bad. They do work. They work pretty good. They're kind of a cheaper switch. So I have a StewMac, brand new one, 5-way switch right here that I'm going to probably incorporate into this guitar. Now it's a 5-way switch, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What this switch does here is, even though it is only 2 pickups, you have what looks like a single coil, but it's actually a humbucker, and then a full-size humbucker at the bridge. What this does is this actually splits the coil, so when you have it on full, you have a full coil, it's split, got both coils, splits the one on the bridge, and then you have a full bridge. So what I'm going to do is basically incorporate this one inside there. Made in Germany by Schaller. That's kind of nice. You can see it's much different, much better than what the original one is. So I want to make sure that this is going to fit with no problems. All the holes line up, and I can still put the cover on after I solder things up, and it looks like it's going to fit, and it's going to fit just fine. I'll have to use the black screws or paint the screws for these. Now, on the pot side, like I said, I had to take this one apart in order to find out what the hell it was, because they kind of stamped the number right underneath the mount for the whole thing, and yeah, so I had to pull it apart. So easily put back together, not a big deal. I just pulled the tabs apart over here and kind of just slid it out. So this one is a B500K, and this one is an A500K. And I'm replacing them anyways, so taking this apart is not a big deal. I got some CTS pots that are coming in, 3/8 shaft, should fit just perfectly fine inside of here without any problems. The output jack that's on here is a switched output jack, so it's got 3 pins on it instead of just having your standard 2. And so if this had an active system inside of it or something like that, I would tap a ground or a positive to the other pin. Actually, I think it's the ground to the other pin. And so when you plugged it in, it'll end up activating the pickups. When you unplug it, it shuts them off. So I'm not going to do anything as far as replacing pickups goes. From what I've read online about these pickups, they are nice. As you can see, this one here is a humbucker, double rail, and so is this one. They sound really good. From all the reviews and stuff that I've read online, these pickups sound really, really good. And I'm not going to replace those, but all of the other electronics are going to go. One thing I haven't figured out yet on this thing here is that, well, it's got a book matched flame maple top, but I can't seem to see a seam over here as far as it being a veneer. So that's kind of interesting. And I don't see a split over here of where, you know, because the split is right down the middle. I don't see a split over here showing that this is one piece of flame maple. But again, I do not see any type of a seam over here. It's probably a veneer, more than likely. So I'm going to put this off to the side because this would be like the last thing I work on because I have to wait for parts. So what I need to do is focus on the neck. So as you see some wearing on the neck, kind of see where all the fingers were or where the strings were and everything else. The frets themselves are in very, very good condition. They just need a little bit of a cleaning. I am going to check them with the fret rocker to make sure that they're all straight after I straighten the neck out. Right now I want to kind of focus on this headstock because even though it kind of looks like it's got a nice shine to it, if I take my fingers and kind of rub it on this thing, it's got some shit in it. It's dirt, basically. And, you know, maybe my fingers are not what to use. So, I'm going to get the clean side of this rag. So there's a nice clean side of this rag. Go ahead and start rubbing this a little bit. And maybe you can't see it. Maybe I wiped too much off of it with my finger already. It's a little bit dirty, but it feels rough. It doesn't feel smooth like glass should feel. So it's got some crap on there. I need to get that crap off there. So I'm going to do that right now just to shine it up, clean it up a little bit. And I'm going to use the number 2 rubbing compound. Because if it's just a little bit of dirt in the finish, I can get that off with no problem. A little bit of dust with the number 2 rubbing compounds. And then that'll make it feel like glass again. You can kind of see that it was pretty dirty. Now I have a few things that I want to do with this thing. Guitar, for some reason, a lot of people say that it's a rare guitar. I mean, I find it all over the internet. Not so much as a for sale item, but they are out there. And the one thing that I want to do is try to keep this thing as original as possible, exception of the electronics like the switch and the volume and tone control and the tone cap, sorry. Also, this does have a plastic nut on it, and right here I have 2 candidates. These are both bone nuts. And this one feels like it has a lot of lubricant in it. Kind of, I can feel it. This one does not feel like that. But they are both bone, and it's a plastic. So I kind of want to eliminate the plastic nut and put a bone in there. So yeah, this is feeling, I can feel it with the rag. It's feeling much better right now. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's stuff what I want it to feel like. I want it to feel like glass. And it kind of shined it up a lot more than what it was before. Beautiful, beautiful flaming. So that's pretty much done. I just wanted to clean it a little bit. The rest of the polishing will be done when I start polishing the body and everything else. I also want to try to work a little bit on this neck a little bit. The neck feels real nice, but it is discolored quite a bit, as you can see from here to here and basically where the tuning pegs go. I want to kind of bring that back a little bit without sanding it and refinishing it. So I'm going to hit it with some rubbing compounds and kind of like, you know, maybe it'll dumb down this discoloration a little bit. So right now what I want to do is knock this nut out. I got two candidates here, like I said. One's a little bit thinner, one's a little bit thicker. But I can always sand them down to reshape them to fit the slot. So I kind of want to knock this thing out. And what I'm doing is I'm putting the, not so much between the crack, or not the crack, but the spot where the wood meets this plastic, but I'm putting it on the plastic itself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start tap it to try to loosen it. And it's coming loose already. So doing that, it opens up a little bit of a gap right there. So I can kind of get underneath that gap and push out the nut. Just like that. Oh, 2 points. Went around the shelf. So yeah, that's the plastic nut. So there is the nut slot. Now I have a tool to go into that nut slot. And this has a coarse file. This is a 1/8 wide, so it's probably about as wide as the nut is. And it's a little bit. It's got two different types of files on it. And basically just go inside there and kind of clean out whatever's on that surface. Pretty simple, pretty easy, without having to mess up or change anything. I just want to be careful you don't push too far on one side and the other. And all you do is just clean the nut slot. Just make it nice and smooth. So the candidates that I have over here, this one here is too loose. And this one here is a little bit too wide. So I think I'm going to go with the lubricated one. And I'll end up, not shimming it, but I'll end up sanding down this side here, getting it into place, measuring it from side to side, getting rid of the overhang, then shaping it to basically the same size as the plastic one without putting in the nuts, the string slots. Those I will mark off of the old nut and incorporate them into the new nut and then work it as I'm going. So right now I'm going to check this neck to make sure the neck is straight. So I put the neck in my neck holder, get my ruler, and of course the phone always rings. And it's basically one of those dumbass fucking robocalls. Been getting a lot of those lately. So right now I have the straight edge on the neck. Got my very bright flashlight. And I want to look down the neck here to see if I see any openings or any gaps. And I kind of do a little bit. So is this going to be a 4 mil like everything else is? Yeah, but it's dirty in there. See if that cleans it up a little bit. Yeah, much better. All right, so does the truss router work? Yes, it does. So I'm going to loosen this thing up and see what it kind of a bow it gives me. Come on, get in there, you. Now I should have a real nice bow in that neck. Oh yeah, it does. Nice and even on both sides. Nice bow in the middle. So I'm going to close that up now. Take a look at it. Stay. Still got a gap. Because you want the neck perfectly straight if you're going to check out the frets or do any type of fret work. In this case, checking them and possibly only a cleaning. Oh, still has a little bit of a gap in there. It's getting tighter. Gap is getting smaller, much smaller. See if that gave me what I needed. And that gave me some back bow. Too much. Take it away a little bit. Still has a little bit of back bow in it, not much. Back bow is completely gone. Stay. I got a slight gap in the center, so give this thing maybe a half a turn of what I've turned it to loosen it. I'm not rocking back and forth. All right, that made a difference, but I want a little bit more of a difference. Give it a little bit, little tiny, there. Little tiny turn. I'm not rocking any place. And let's see here. All right, I want to turn it back just a hair. That is a touchy truss rod. All right, that's where I want it to be. Don't need this no more. This I do need, but I don't need it right now. That'll be later on. It's nice I set up my toolbox on the side over here to where everything I need is in the first drawer of the toolbox. A lot of this stuff is hanging on the walls. Nice to have a bench to work on and be able to do whatever I need to do. So let's go ahead and check these frets. So I don't want to have to do a fret job if it really doesn't need it. It's a little bit. I want to see here if these frets are sticking up at all. No. Going down the side of the neck. They don't look wavy at all. So where was I? Right around over here. Get this side. Yeah, very minute rocking going on. I mean, just barely any rocking. Yeah, I'm not really seeing too much of a problem. Now the frets do look kind of a little bit on the flat side. So at least some of them do. Like this one here looks a little bit flat. Doesn't have a sharp edge on it, but it does have a little bit of a flatness to it. So I'm thinking I'm going to end up maybe putting a little bit of a crown on these guys all the way down. But like I said, as far as having any rocking issues go, very like minute, like maybe like a couple of thousandths or so, maybe 2 or 3 thousandths, and that's it. Just enough to kind of like, you know, real tiny. So I don't think I'm going to do a fret leveling job on this thing. I don't think it really needs it. Look at the side of the frets where the tangs are. See if anything's sticking up over here. No, everything looks pretty good. Yeah, I mean, having this light above me over here now really works out pretty good. I could see better. So yeah, truss rod works. Neck is okay. time to make a nut. What? Did you really think I was done? I still got a nut to make. Alright, so I have the nut done. Well, not completely done, but there's a little bit of a lip on the side over here. It's a little bit on the tall side. It fits in there pretty good. It's not too tight and it's not really loose. And it's a little on the tall side, which is fine because it gives me some room to work with. Once I get done cleaning up the frets, cleaning up the fretboard, and once I start to get the body done, get the electronics and stuff, and I can go ahead and put the stock nut in place. I can mark where my string is and start filing with the nut files, getting the string seats put in. So that's about it for today. I mean, I'm pretty much, just got to tweak this a little bit to get the fit right. And yeah, so went from a plastic to a bone. That's it, my friends. Take care, have a good one, and I'll catch up with you all later.